Imagine if hell was real, and you were given the chance to go in, take a stroll, then come back out, presumably alive and well. Would you do it? Hello everybody, I'm Stretch. Today, we'll be talking about level 666 of the Backrooms. Level 666 is the 667th level of the Backrooms. The number is no mere coincidence, as it has been universally described as hell by all those who have had the misfortune of entering and the fortune of making it back out. Level 666 cannot be accurately described in a traditional sense, as every wanderer who enters the level has a different experience. These specific versions of level 666 are referred to as manifestations. It should be noted that only one person can exist in each manifestation, and they cannot cross into another individual's manifestation. This effectively makes it impossible to establish outposts or communities within the level. Having said that, there exists one universal constant across all manifestations. There is always some sort of sign reading, "Welcome to Hell." The message is often delivered in the form of a neon sign, graffiti, or welcome mats, each stylistically fitting in with that manifestation's surroundings. The matter-of-fact sign will always be visible to you and will be written in the wanderer's most fluent language. If you're blind or illiterate, it will be spoken to you instead. Heck, even if you lack all 5 of your senses, the level will never fail to let you know that you've entered hell. All manifestations of level 666 consistently play up and exploit their wanderer's fears, vulnerabilities, and insecurities. They even commonly tap into subconscious fears or ones that have yet to develop. Thus, there are theoretically infinite unsettling scenarios in which you could find yourself. They will be uniquely horrifying to you even if you share the same fears as other wanderers. Multiple manifestations can appear simultaneously, and the number of manifestations does not affect how each is generated. However, if you have no concept of fear for some reason, then you are not allowed to enter the level. Weirdo. The following is a documented manifestation of a wanderer. Ken had been fascinated with Japanese culture and traditions ever since he went on a trip to Japan with his family when he was a wee lad. Later, in high school, he was accepted into a student exchange program to Japan, and he loved every second of it. That's why he vowed to move to Japan after college, though I'm sure you can guess what happened next. Ken's manifestation took on the appearance of the Fushimi Inari Shrine, albeit with a more macabre look. It appeared as a single endless hallway made of torii gates, much like their counterparts in the front rooms. The feet of these torii gates were coated in red and black paint. A lantern hung above, and random kanji characters were scribbled on the walls all around him. The floor was a single pathway made of rocks, lined with pebbles on both sides. Initially, Ken was ecstatic, thinking that he'd somehow escaped the Backrooms and wound up in Japan of all places. What luck! Unfortunately, he would soon come to curse his apparent luck. Ken walked for what felt like an eternity until all he could think about was how tired and hungry he was. Suddenly, the earth trembled with a low roar, and the ground beneath him cracked open. He had to keep jumping to another spot to avoid falling, like he was playing "The Floor is Lava." Ken miscalculated one of his jumps and slipped through a widening crack. Fortunately, he managed to grab onto the edge and pull himself back up with what little strength he had left. Back above ground, Ken's mind raced wildly, trying to make sense of the chaos. He was taking in quick, heavy breaths. However, in his distress, he found his eyes shifting to look into the hole that almost ended him. What he saw calmed him down completely. His mind was no longer frantic, and his breathing returned to normal. He saw nothing. It was an empty void. No sound, no life, no light, nothing. For a moment, he found solace at the thought of falling forever in perpetual nothingness. It was an oddly comforting thought. Death held a hand out to him, and it felt warm and inviting. No, don't give in. In a split second, Ken snapped back from his trance and shook his head. The earthquake had stopped, so he climbed to his feet and marched on. He walked and walked and walked. The colors in front of him began to change. No longer were the walls and gates red and black, but now colorful arches were leading him to a neon sign that read, "Hello, gorgeous." Ken touched the sign, and the hallway opened up to the same torii gates, except this time, everything was pitch black. and the floor, to his horror, seemed to be made of bones and organs. At the end of the path was a wooden door. When he reached it, Ken looked down and saw a welcome mat. It read, "Welcome to hell. We hope you have a happy stay here."